Yeah, it's okay. Hi, everybody. I'm back here just a few feet away from where I just was, and I'm standing next to Arctostaphylos pallida, which Arctostaphylos pallida, unlike Crustacea, has an incredibly tiny range. It only lives here in Alameda County and Contra Costa County in basically two locations, here Huckleberry Preserve and then El Sobrante Ridge to the north of us. So that's important, important thing to know. Know where you are to be able to identify your manzanitas. So it's can be 6 feet tall or even taller. It's an erect shrub. It's got a couple characteristics that'll differ from Crustacea. One is it doesn't have it shouldn't have a burl. Although if you look at the ground, sometimes you can convince yourself that the stem's going underground and becoming a storage unit, but it's not supposed to be a burl. So no burl. It has peeling bark. So I told you that manzanitas in general have smooth bark, but this species has the bark kind of shreds and stays on the stem. And so you can see it in many places, the actual the peeling nature of the bark. That's cool. But the most obvious characteristic by far are the leaves. And the leaves have what we call clasping leaf bases, where the petiole is so short and the leaf itself kind of has a base that's even more than heart-shaped. It just goes all the way around the stem. So check that out. If you pluck a leaf, pluck two leaves, let's do the test like we did with Crustacea. But you'll immediately notice one thing different, and that is they're not quite as thick. The leaves are quite thinner. They're quite a bit thinner than Crustacea. And then if you flip them over, they're approximately the same color on both sides. This is not my favorite character, but I kind of see what they mean. Pallida means kind of pallid, pale, and I think they get that name because some of these leaves you can see have a really whitish cast on them. Another thing I'm noticing about these pallida leaves is that the leaf margins, many of them are reddish, and that's kind of neat. Something I didn't mention about manzanitas is, in general, is they produce these fruits that are kind of dry. They're little round berries, and they're edible. They're really good. Generally, what I like to do is get a big handful of them and stick in my mouth and just kind of suck on them for a while. But this, I just want you to look at the fruit up close for a second. They often describe the fruit as depressed spherical, where they have kind of they're like a round sphere, but that they may be they kind of got a depression in the top of it. And then sometimes you read about them, whether or not the stones, and those just refers to the seeds, whether they're free or fused. And if you crush one of these in your hand, you'll see the seeds just come out and they're free. If they were fused, they would be sticking to each other because they would have a little structure that attached them to each other. So, like I said, Arctostaphylos pallida is a very, very local endemic, here endemic only to the East Bay. It's an erect shrub, it's got peeling bark, it's got these really neat clasping leaf bases, and little thinner leaves that are about the same color on both sides.